So this is day 6 into my worthiness journey. Um Today was my son's football banquet today. And we went set up, came home, got a little rest, got dressed, and went right back for the banquet. Um had a really good time. My baby got an award. He was so proud of himself, and all the kids were so excited. Really, 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 the South Post Oak Eagles, my kid is a part of that team, and they do so much for those children. Very, very, very great organization to be a part of. Um, and as I was there, I was trying not to be deep in thought, but I kept veering that way. To be deep in thought. And this is one thing I got out of today. Life will give you 10,000 reasons to not be okay. 10,000 reasons to not be okay. But you have to choose to be okay. And you have to choose to be in a good mood. And you have to choose to be kind to people. And choose to be social with people when you don't want to. Um, and making that choice and just choosing to be okay. Letting my mind wander deep in thought, but still coming back to the present moment. I was proud of myself for that. I still kept telling myself, you got to be present. Don't veer off, into your own head and you're not watching the moment. And so I kept, triggering myself to be present. So I'm proud of myself for that. That I noticed when I wasn't being present and that I kept veering myself back to being present. Um, it's the growth for me. It's the growth for me, baby. Um, I I put on this dress that I did not think I was gonna be able to fit, but I fit that dress, baby. And what about it? Fit that dress and looked good in that dress. I was like, come on through, girl. What you got? People were saying, this you? I was like, yeah, that's me. Because as a football, I wear a ball cap, some tights, and a shirt. Um, I take Dane football practice is baseball cap, tennis shoes, regular stuff. And on Saturdays for football, I have to have on a red shirt. So of course I got on tights, tennis shoes, and a red director shirt. Because I'm on the board of the football league. Um, so it was like I was like, yeah, it's me. It's me. And I felt pretty good. I was like, wow, I put that thing on and I wore that. Also today it was busy, but emotionally I felt stable. I didn't feel shook up. I didn't feel too introverted. Um, because I'm really trying to peel my way out of this introversion kind of thing. I don't want to be so introverted, and I know that is going to be a decision I make to not be weird, you know, because I can get pretty weird. That is the one thing when people learn about me that I can be pretty weird. They be like, "You weird?" I'm like, I don't know what y'all thought was happening, but I am pretty weird. I can sit there for hours and just be quiet and just look at people and not say a word. That's the introverted me. But then there's an extroverted me with people that I like and I like laughing with. I am very extroverted, like, but it ain't that many people that I like. I like laughing and joking with. But the people I do. If that makes sense. If you know, you know, right? Um, so that it tickled me when I was like, okay, girl, get lit, get a little extroverted, you know. But for the most part, I had a great day. My emotions stayed stable. I was able to be fully aware of what was going on. I even though I'm tired because now I'm back home, I said, you have to video. You have to video. Also, I on so what I've decided to do in these videos, I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna give my videos a topic, and I'm gonna speak about worthiness and the topic, how it plays, like how worthiness play with discernment, um, how worthiness play when it's time to making good decisions. I'm also going to talk about the council of me. There's a council of me in here. Um, and I didn't find that out till recently that I had a council of me inside of here. I'll tell the story about that and how I realized that and how we had to help one of us get it together because one of us is wounded in here. I'm also going to talk about connecting with my inner child, how I was able to connect with my inner child, and how I was able to get her to trust me, but also compromise with her. It's going to sound real third personish, but it's not. Um, Understanding that it's levels of you that will protect you. It's levels of you that have a big ego. It's a level, let me say it, it's a level of you. That's why I said a council of me. There's a level of me that has a very, very huge ego. There's a level of me that's insecure and shy. That is a level of me that will bite your head off if you don't watch it. It's a level of me that is no, like, real no nonsense. Like, you got to go play with your mama. You can't play with me. So it's levels of me in here, and child in here. There's levels of me in here. And I'm going to talk about how I was able to get us to a council who will listen to each other. And it's going to sound very weird. But if you try it, acknowledge all parts of you and see how the better you become. Anyway, um, I am also going to talk about leaving religion, what made me leave, and what I've found out since I've been gone away from religion. Um, Also want to talk about love as an experience and not always a long term thing. Um, a lot of people do not believe in love when it comes and goes, right? We can say, oh, this wasn't love. But who's to say? Who's to say it wasn't? If it's something you gave your all, even if the other person was on some bullshit, it is your experience that you have to acknowledge. So I do want to also talk about love experiences. In this life, we will have a lot of love experience. Doesn't mean this love is here to stay forever. But being grateful for just the experience that you got. Uh uh Able to tap into another side of you, or able to like, wow, I didn't even know I liked this. I wouldn't even think I would do this or be into this or whatever. Just things you find out about yourself when you open yourself up to other things. Also, I want to also talk about how not listening to negative things about yourself. And when I say that, I mean, like, if you sit at a table, okay, and the subject come up about, oh, women, black women ain't shit, black women is this, black women is that, black women is the other, what? Baby, get up from that table. And trust me, when you get up, people gonna want to know why you got up. And it's just to say, I don't entertain negative things about myself. I'm a black woman. I don't want to hear what you have to say about black women. Not sitting around letting somebody tell you who you are. Because the truth, what that does is that play on your worthiness. You can only hear that, a bunch of that, for so long before you start to say, I have no value. A man will never like me because, a man will never like me because, or I'm not worth this because I am this and that. That type of thinking will hold you back from all the good things that God has for you in this life. And not tolerating it. And when you don't tolerate it, guess what? People ain't finna sit with you and say nothing stupid. Let me tell you something. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Democrat either, but I'm not a supporter of foolishness. I'm just not. And do I believe they both sides of the same coin? I do. I believe they both evil on their own sides. That's what I believe. But we're not finna sit around, and we're not finna sit and entertain no conversation about a person that's clearly showing you he's full of all types of shit and cruelty and demented and supremacist and all these things, and you think I'm finna sit around and you finna tell me what it is and what it ain't. No, we're not finna do that. Because it's always the people that don't have shit that can always think that he is right. If you look at those people life, they don't have shit. They don't touch no real money. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't touching $7,000 to $10,000 a month, you ain't touching no real money. Let's be clear about that. Until you start touching that kind of money, baby, it will change your mind about a lot of things. And one thing about a person that you've had to build your own life, you will never look down on poor people. Ever. Because one thing about poor people is a system to keep them poor so the rich get richer. And every time you try to get so far-fetched in your mind from poor people, or you don't relate to poor people, you lost. You lost right there. Because if you really knew rich people, they do not see people as human. They see them as objects for them to get what they need. So why would you go that way? Anyway, it's just a lot that I want to talk about. And how worthiness plays into those things. Like, even worthiness play into what you say about other people. What you say about other people kind of gives insight of what you think about yourself. Because if you don't have grace and empathy for other people, you really ain't never sat in your shit. You still think you the shit. You ain't never sat in your shit till it stank. Once you sit in your own shit, you can look at other people and be like, oh, okay. And you understand why people don't go on a healing journey. You understand why people don't want to grow. Because it's lonely there. It's isolating there. If we be honest about it. Going on a growth journey, to stand up in your right and say, I am worthy of good things in life. And no matter what you say, I'm going to keep pushing on. Baby, it takes a lot of courage to do that. And not many people can do that. Because a lot of people cannot be alone. And that and when you can't be alone, that's a part of worthiness. When you feel worthy, look, what am I beautifying a house for if I can't sit at home? Why am I paying a mortgage if I can't sit at home? Why are all my bills paid if I can't be in the house that I pay the bills in? I make this house comfortable. You know why it's comfortable? So I can be here. Not so I can be everywhere but here. But anyway, all those things I want to touch on and talk about and just show how worthiness plays into that and what I've been noticing about situations and worthiness, in my life and for growth and healing and healing is not linear and it feels like death. Yes, it do. But if you want to be your best self and you want to live in purpose and you want to stop stupid shit from looping in your life, go within. Go inside. Look for the God inside. But when you look for the God inside, you also have to meet yourself. And that's why people rather go to church than turn inward to meet themselves. Because there's a lot of bullshit connected in there. And there's a lot of things you've learned that you have to unlearn. And tell yourself that it's not healthy. And be okay with it not being healthy. And change. But it is a little lonely. And it is. People will isolate you because they have no clue what you're going through. Or the understanding. Because one thing that I know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears and the learning starts. So I'm aware of that. And a lot of times things don't appear because you're not ready. But the moment you are, it starts flying from everywhere. And it's a beautiful thing, So that was my day. This is where I see myself heading and breaking down my little video diary. So thanks for listening and namaste.